Welcome to the Spunky Spirit Podcast. I'm your host, psychic medium Carrie Muggs. This is where we learn all things spirit, everything from spiritual gifts, awakenings, ghosts, aliens, and starseeds. Nothing is untouchable, but always fun and spunky. I am honored to be on this spiritual journey with you, so make sure you hit the subscribe button so you never miss an episode. Hello, and welcome to this episode of Spunky Spirit. I am psychic medium Carrie Muggs. And oh my gosh, I don't know about you, but this week was crazy. This week was a doozy for me. I don't know if I definitely am going through an upgrade, that's for sure, because I don't know. It's just when you think, January was long, and last week was pretty tough. So February is going to come, and February is actually going to be more open. February is going to be more uplifting and more secure, more safe. It's going to be a little more even kill, and you're going to all those, it's so hard because I just feel like you make all these plans for the new year, and then January is crazy like that. And then, and maybe your January was awesome, but it just seems like I know January was pretty crazy. Either lots of people got sick or went through a lot of stuff. I just definitely feel like January was an upgrade of some sort for the whole collective, or some people. I felt it big time. And so I feel like February is going to be more of a rest, more stepping into those things that we wanted to create, those things that I think that January was just kind of full of surprises. So, as you know, in this podcast, my goal is to help you tap into your own spiritual gifts, tap into your own intuitiveness, so you can, because you have the power within you. Everybody has power within us. Spiritual growth is not outside of yourself. Of course, sometimes we need help, but today, we're going to talk a little bit about psychic, because there is a difference between mediumship and psychic, and you've probably heard me talk about this before. But when I first started doing readings in the beginning, I didn't know this. I just knew I was getting information. I just knew things, and I didn't know if spirits were telling it to me or if I just knew stuff. But the more that I do this, and the more that I learn, and the more that I create this intuitiveness and help people get into their own intuition, I've learned that we all have this ability. All of us have psychic abilities, all of us. And these psychic abilities are what we use to connect to spirits or spirit. Now, when I say spirit with a capital S, that is my word for universe, source, God. Because my vision of spirit or God is not what I was taught, that there's a big male type father figure in the sky that wants you to be obedient but loves you. And my and this is getting pretty deep, but my vision or my knowing of source or God is very loving, very unconditional loving, creator of all things, and I call it spirit. I call him spirit, him, her, it doesn't matter. Just a source of energy that is full of unconditional love. Spirit is what I call God or universe or source. And so when I say spirit, when you connect to spirit, that's what I mean. You connect to that source, that universe. But you can also use your psychic abilities to connect to spirits that have passed over, or your spirit guides. So that would be like a lowercase s on the front of spirit. So I should be more clear about that, because I do know when I teach and I say connect to spirit, people don't know if I'm talking about connecting to individual spirits that have passed over or to source. And so it's kind of both. So I will kind of, uppercase spirit is source, lowercase spirit is spirits, are loved ones. I'll I'll try and be more careful about that so people get a more of a clear identity of what it is. But what we do is all of us have psychic abilities. These are our abilities to know things, to hear things, to see things, trust our intuition, our gut, our senses, and they're called the clairs. These are all psychic abilities. We have clairvoyance, which is vision. We see things. We have dreams. And I'm just going to go over these really fast because I've probably gone over them before in some of these podcasts. There's clairsentient, which is we feel things. These are like all the empath people who feel other people's feelings. There's claircognizance, which just know things. There's clairaudient, which smell things. Clairaudient, which hear things. And then there are two other clairs. One is smelling. I think it's clairaugustus or something like that. And clair something else that you taste things in your mouth. Those two aren't like in the main clairs, but people have them. I do them in readings. I can smell cigarette smoke or I can taste certain things. And I know that that's what the Spirit's trying to talk to me. So we use our clairs, which are our psychic abilities that everybody has, to talk to and communicate to Spirit or read other people's energies. We use these clairs to read other people's energy. Sometimes you do it, you don't even know it. So, and I wouldn't suggest doing it without people's permission because that's invasion of privacy. But sometimes when you're talking to somebody or you're in their energy bubble, you can feel or you can have visions of things. And this is psychic. This is all psychic. But we use our psychic abilities to communicate to spirits or source or God or spirit. So everybody can do this. Everybody has this ability. What happens is not everybody believes that they can, or people don't believe in this, or they don't trust their intuition, or they don't trust themselves, and they don't think they have psychic abilities. But they think it's going to be like Hollywood, where they see visions in front of them, or they see a spirit actually in front of them, and it's not like that. It's not always like that. So some people can tap into their psychic abilities fairly well. Like some people grow up and they love basketball and they want to play basketball all the time, and they practice and they practice and they practice and they become super good. Psychic abilities are like that. You have them, and when you practice them and practice them and practice them, you become better. When your psychic abilities become better, then you can start to sense when spirit or spirits are around, and you can use your psychic abilities to communicate with them. And they do talk to us in signs and symbols. They don't just come through and say, hey, my name is George. They come through in signs and symbols, and sometimes we don't believe it. We're kind of stopping our own selves. We're not allowing it to become, we're not being more aware of it because of our belief system, because of what we were taught, because honestly, there are some organizations out there that don't want you to tap into your psychic abilities. They don't want you to be self-sufficient. They don't want you to be able to do this. And so this is why I kind of wanted to talk to you about working on your psychic abilities, because when you become more psychic or work on your psychic abilities, then it is easier to tap into source or God or spirits around you, and even your higher self. And when people say higher self, it's kind of a long story, or it's kind of but our brains, our spirit or our soul isn't all, there's some of us, this is so hard to explain. There's a percentage of our spirit. Now, this is what I've been told or what I've downloaded, so you can come across, if this doesn't resonate with you, that's fine. This podcast is always pick what resonates with you. Part of our spirit is only like 90% of our spirit is on the earth. Part of it is still, it's kind of like, it's a little bit like the Matrix, honestly. It's like some of our spirit's still at a different frequency, and we are here experimenting, or we're here having a journey or having experiences. And so to connect to that higher self, that's what people mean when they say you need to connect to your higher self, that higher frequency of you that exists not on earth, because earth is hard and you are here to journey it. You are here to experience it, and you are here to I don't want to say it's a test because there is no pass or fail. How you experience things and how you treat others and how you are good to yourself is all part of that experience. So when you use your psychic abilities, you can connect to source, higher self, and other spirits that are on the other side, and ancestors and guides and things like that. So today, I kind of want to talk more about psychic. This is why people say some psychics are medium. No, not all psychics are mediums, but all mediums are psychic. It's because the mediums have tapped into their psychic abilities and they have learned to connect to spirits. Now, some mediums aren't going to agree with me on this, and I don't really care because this is what my experience, and I can only teach you my experience, right? So, and I just know that you can be taught psychic abilities and you can be taught mediumship if you believe it. I know there are people who lose lost loved ones. They have a huge awakening. They tap into their psychic abilities and then they realize they can connect and talk and connect to spirits. So it's an ability we all have. It's just whether or not you work at it or practice it. It's just like going to the gym. Your body can be healthy and your body can be physically fit, but you have to continue to work on that. You have to continue to do that. And same with music or instruments. You're not born knowing how to play the guitar. But if you are pulled to it and love it, then you start to take lessons and then it becomes so natural and so easy. It is the exact same thing with your psychic abilities. We're not taught how to use them. We're not taught that we can use them. We're told that some people can, but there is a group of the government, I've talked about this too, I did a whole podcast on it. The government teaches people how to tap into their psychic abilities, their clairvoyance, and do remote viewing. They use people that sit and meditate and visualize other places across the country or around the world so they can kind of tell what the buildings look like or what that space looks like. And these people are government trained. So it's very real. It's just very kind of secretive and very hidden because it's hard, and a lot of people think, because of that, people don't believe in it. It's because a lot of people do think it's evil. Because what happens is when you start to awake your stuff, when you start to tap into your psychic abilities and you start to connect to spirit or source, you are more awake and your frequency is higher, and that can, if you don't protect yourself and you don't surround yourself with white light and you don't have the right intention, it can lead to lower frequency spirits or lower entities to come in and kind of drain your energy or kind of, mess around with you. So that's where you got to be careful. When you start to tap into your psychic abilities or you want to train to start tapping into your psychic abilities, you've also got to, how we're going to, I'm just going to kind of teach you. We talked about the clairs. So these are different clairs. Each one of you have you can have all the clairs. Everybody has all the clairs, but there are some clairs that are stronger than others. So what I want you to do is focus on your stronger clairs. Are you more clear feeling? Are you more clear knowing, clear hearing, or clear seeing, like the visual one? And if you watch a movie and you love the scenery or you love to the vision or their colors, then you're probably clear seeing. If you just know what's going to happen or you just kind of know what's coming up next, that's clear knowing. And clear, if you love the music of it or you love the sounds of it, you're a musical person, you're probably very clear hearing. And if you feel like you cry every time you watch a movie or there's something that touches you, that's clear feeling. Now, when you tap into these clairs, you're going to have some dominant clairs. There's going to be some of your clairs that work stronger than others. So what you need to do is you need to figure out which of these clairs works with you or what your strongest clair is, and you need to work on that clair. You need to work on that clair, get it down, and then you need to kind of go into another clair. Start working on a different clair, more or you could just do activities that kind of combine all the clairs together, or you can just not even worry about the clairs and just test your psychic abilities. That's kind of what I suggest. Don't really worry about the clairs right now. Just start to, tap into, play little games with yourself to tap into your psychic abilities. So if somebody texts you or calls you, try, when you hear the phone ping, try and guess who it is first before you look at the text or before you see the text. If I want you to get your playlist, your Spotify playlist or whatever playlist you have, and I want you to put it on one of your songs, one of your playlists, and I want you to shuffle it, and I want you to try and guess sometimes which is the next song. What song is going to be next? And see if you're right. I remember when I was little, I used to, back in the TV days when they would have commercial breaks, and I would always know what commercial is going to be next, and it would kind of freak my mom out. She didn't really like it, but so just kind of guess that. Take a deck of cards and take 3 cards out of it, and look at the 3 cards, and then put them face down on the table, and then move them around, and then try and guess which one it is that you're turning over. Just guess which one it is that, guess, okay, this is going to be the 2 of hearts, and turn it over and see. You're not always going to be accurate, but here's the thing. No psychic or reading is ever 100% accurate. And if they tell you that they are lying, and you need to go to a different psychic medium, because no reading, or it's just too hard. The signs and the symbols, that you get, and the information that you get, you can interpret it wrong. And so that's why I tell people when I do readings, if I see something and I'm not sure what it is, I'm going to tell you straight out what I'm seeing, because I might be interpreting it wrong and you might understand what it is better than me. So for instance, I had someone in one of my clients, and I said, I see an old Western picture of, those old ones of Native Americans and the cowboys, one of those pictures. And I said, did they have one of those pictures in their houses, or did they have it in their house? Did they have it in their study? And she said, no, that's how he passed over, yeah, I don't want to get too, because I don't want to hurt anybody or give too much about the reading, but so I thought that this vision was something, an old reminder, an old picture, something that meant, oh, look at this reminiscing, and it was actually how he passed over. So you can always misinterpret. That's why I always say, if I don't know what I'm seeing, I'll say straight out, do you understand what this is? Because if I'm seeing an airplane and I say, oh, you guys are going on a trip, and they're like, no, we're not going on a trip, but they're a pilot, then I misinterpreted. So I will just sometimes straight out, do you understand the plane? Because, so you have to just know too that some of the information you get, don't be so, just have fun with it. Don't be so rigid about it. Don't be so, give yourself some grace, because it's going to be fun at first. If you make it fun and it's more relaxing, then it's easier. And go for the no. So when you are doing the 3 card spread, just blurt out, okay, this is this one, and turn it over. And if it's not that one, laugh about it. Have fun with it, because you will get better. Same with the music or the songs. Just blurt out what song's coming next and go for the no. Don't expect yourself to be right on every time. And then there's not so much pressure, and it's not so much pressure, just a lot of pressure to be right. So have fun with it at first. And I don't really, want you to go, you can, when you go to stores and stuff, or when you're out in crowds, you can look at people from a distance and try and guess their aura or their color. But, be respectful of privacy. Don't read people's energy without their permissions. So a lot of times you really have to have, it's really better, the integrity to have their permission. But you can read auras from a distance. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But I don't really believe in flyby readings very much, just because I don't like to tap into people's if spirits do come and say, hey, you need to talk to them, it just depends on the situation. It depends on how I feel. It depends on how aggressive the spirit is. Mostly, I really honestly just keep it into my reading rooms because of all the past experiences I had growing up. It was just kind of a hard thing because spiritual growth, you guys, that's the one thing that people don't talk about. Is spiritual growth is kind of hard. It's a journey. It's digging deep inside yourself. It's doing shadow work. And I remember posting it on, somebody talking about it on Facebook, and I was like, I mentioned that it was really hard, and somebody at the bottom said, it doesn't have to be. It's your choice. And I don't really believe that. I just don't. I believe that if you're working on your abilities, your spiritual awakening, and you're growing in frequency, growth is always a little bit painful. And I mean, you could have a different attitude about it. You could be like, ugh, I don't want to go into this again. I don't want to do, or you could be like, oh my gosh, spiritual growth is coming, but that means I got to dig deep and figure out my shiz, right? So it just depends on your attitude. And sometimes you just get tired. This week I was tired. I'm not going to lie. This week, I went through January doing all the things, planning all the things, and then this week kind of floored me. Some things came up, and I was just like, this is hard. And that's okay, because give yourself some grace and let it be hard sometimes. It's not always going to be easy peasy lemon squeezy. And I know I say that all the time, but it's true. Because here's the thing. I want you to give yourself some grace. I want you to love yourself regardless. I want you to talk to yourself like a friend would talk to you. If somebody was going through the exact same if one of your friends was going through the exact same thing you were, would you talk to them the way that you talk to yourself? Would you be like, oh my gosh, you're so stupid and lazy. You need to get up. You need to do something. You need to be busy. Or if your friend talked to you and said, okay, I'm just not feeling it. I feel tired. You would say, give yourself some grace. Your body's telling you to rest. So talk to yourself that way, especially when you're trying to tap into your psychic abilities or your gifted abilities, because you know what? It's hard. It's gonna, and there's gonna be some times that it's so fun and so like you're just be like, I promise you, once you start seeing the connections and once you start getting more right than wrong, you are gonna just be like wanting more of it. You're just gonna be like, oh my gosh, give me more, more, more. It's gonna be like almost like a drug. And then when you start to do it, it gets a little bit harder. It's not growth. It's not just an upward thing. There's kind of lots of in between. So just this week, I want you to practice trying all these psychic abilities, trying these new things. Even if you have somebody helping you, like a friend that has a picture, like this is what we did for the Spirit Circle, and it was amazing. My students were awesome. They sat in the circle, we did a meditation, and then I held a card from an oracle deck, and I said, focus on the card. Tell me what you think the card looks like. And I kid you not, most of my students got it, were correct. They saw some of the things that were on the card. They saw some of the colors. They saw some of the different things, that the numbers that were on it. They saw different things. So do that with an oracle card. Pick one card out of the deck, turn it over, and try and see if you can pick what's on that deck, or see visually, or just know what's on that card that you pulled out. It's so much fun if you let it be fun. Don't stress too much about it. Don't put too much on it. This is just supposed to be fun. Nobody's paying you for a reading for this. There's not a lot of pressure. It's just for you to practice. And so, because once you practice and you get your psychic abilities down and you focus on which clairs you're strongest at, then you can use those psychic abilities and those clairs to start to connect to source and your higher self and your spirit guides and your ancestors, because that's how you connect to them. It's just crazy because nobody ever teaches you that. So I hope that helps. I hope that that's what you do this week. Try to use your psychic abilities and don't worry about connecting to source or spirit right now. You're always connected to source. You have a light inside of you that's always connected to source. So you never have to try and connect to source. Sometimes you may feel that light burn out, but you are always connected to source no matter what. But you can use your psychic abilities to feel that connection or communicate with that connection. So just try it. Be your own psychic. Try and do these little things that you want to do. And so then that way it can help you to connect to your higher self too, and know why you're here, know what your purpose is, know what you want to do, have a clearer picture of who you are. Because when you tap into these psychic abilities, that helps you figure out you, and you get to connect to that too. So that's pretty awesome. I love you guys so much. I do have a retreat coming up. This is where I teach a lot of this stuff, and it's awesome. It is the best experience ever. I have to tell you a story. I'm kind of hoping I have, anyways, I just know that there was, I'm hoping I hope it's just a story. Nobody knows this person, so I think it's okay to use it, but I hope she doesn't get mad. But there was a client before the retreat, and I gave them a reading. And I said, watch for the elk. Watch for the elk. Well, this client, we were just getting ready to go to the retreat, and she was in my retreat, and she came to the retreat. And I said, wouldn't that be funny if an elk showed up and at the retreat? And we were in Island Park, Idaho, and it was beautiful. I mean, the feeling just being in this place is so sacred, and to teach these things inside of this was just kind of an amazing thing too. And you couldn't deny the spirit. I mean, the spirit was there, and you couldn't deny that this growth was there, and this connection to each other, and this connection to source and ourselves. It was just beautiful. And in the cabin, there was this huge window that looked out into nothing but trees. There was this big, huge deck. And while they were downstairs doing yoga, there was an elk, huge elk, that just walked right in front of the window and stared at me. And I ran downstairs, and I got the person, and I said, the elk is here. And she ran upstairs in time to see the butt of the elk go up into the trees. But it was the most amazing, one of the most amazing experiences. I just could feel the presence of that spirit there. It was just amazing. And so that's the kind of things that when you connect, you experience. And that's the kind of things, that experience is what this retreat will bring, is just that connection and that frequency raise and that love and unconditional love. It's just so amazing, and such a perfect setting and such a perfect place. So if you need more information on that, it's in my link in the bio. I can also put it down in the links down at the bottom in the show notes. But just know, you guys, I love you so much. And I know people say that, but I really, really know I would not be where I am without you. I know that you guys just want to better yourself. You want to grow spiritually, and I just want to help. And so I hope that that's what I'm doing. I hope that you guys just take what resonates with you and grow from it and learn from it, so that way you can do a lot of this, trust yourself and love yourself and do that. So I love you guys. I mean it. And just remember, you have all the magic inside of you. You are the magic. If you liked this podcast and think it could help somebody else, please share it on your social media, and always hit the subscribe button so you never miss an episode.